everybody. This is Bradley Fulton. I am the creative director on Labyrinth here at Free Range Games, and today I'd like to give you an update on what we've been working on for the last several months. So this is a huge update, and we're adding, for the first time, defensive gameplay. You'll be able to build boss decks, you'll be able to assign boss decks to your defense, you'll be able to watch replays of other people raiding your dungeon, and then also for the first time when you go on a raid, you'll be matched with other players and you'll be playing against other players' decks. So what I'd like to do today is give you a run through on all the changes that we've made to the game, some of the new features, and tell you how you'll be able to build these decks and get you started. So first you'll see in the screen here we now have the defense tab here is enabled over in the side. And I'll get to that in a second, but first we're going to go into My Decks. And you'll see up here on the left, now we've got the Bosses tab. So if you click on that, you'll see a list of all your bosses, and we'll be able to select them. You'll have 4 bosses here to choose from. These are 4 of the 8 that we're planning to do for the full launch of the game. And you can make decks for each of these. You'll only be able to have one of them active at a time, but you can switch them at any time. And just like Heroes, you can see over here on the right, you've got the boss deck itself. And the boss decks are put together in a different way than hero decks, and so I'm going to go in here and build a couple of these and give you an explanation about how these work. So we're going to start here by jumping into Oros the Bouncer. We're going to edit his deck. So just like Heroes, you see your collection. You might notice that there are a few new things here. You'll see up at the top of each card there's a little star with a number. That is the card's star rating. So everything in a defense deck, every card has a cost, essentially, just for putting it in the deck. It's got a star cost. And that tells you that this is a more powerful or a less powerful card. And there's a limited number of stars you can have in the deck. And that's actually up here, this 40 of 45. I'm actually spending 40 of my 45 stars that I'm allowed for the deck. Defensive decks are split into 3 groups of cards, 3 different kinds of cards. There's spells. These are kind of what you would expect. Each one of these is a thing the boss is going to do on its turn. And bosses are generally going to have around 5 spells. Each one of them has to be different. You can only have 1 copy of a given card in here. And these are the things that the boss will play, like I said, over the course of the battle. The Lair group these are all minions and structures that start on the map. So at the start of the battle, now you've got the boss, but then the boss has also got things that he can have to assist his defense. And then the third thing here is perks. Now perks are they're all enhancements, and they can modify the boss's abilities, they can modify the abilities of his minions or his structures. They can also modify some of the spells in the deck. So you can see some examples here, like Quick Fur, that modifies his Thick Fur. So you can see up here he's got the Thick Fur card, that when he plays it until his next turn, all damage that's dealt to him is reduced to 1, and it costs 2 ticks to play up there at the upper left. But we also have Quick Fur, which then reduces its cost by 1. So you can see there's a huge amount of space. There's all kinds of new kinds of cards. There's a lot of innovation that we get with this mechanic. And so boss decks generally are going to be about 15 cards. Each boss has its own budget for each of these groups. They all have 5 spells in their spell group, but then some bosses have more layer cards, some have less layer cards, some have more perks, some have less perks. And that's just a way that we can make each boss kind of play in its own way. So that's the Minotaur deck here. I'm going to back out, and we're actually going to I'm going to modify one of the decks here for the Giant Queen. So you can see this one isn't fully finished. It's got a bunch of, just a few cards in here. This isn't actually a viable deck. I couldn't play this, so I'm going to go ahead and fill it out. So I'm going to start here. Draw In is actually a pretty good spell. I'm going to start with that. So the Giant Queen, she is a huge monster. She really wants to, she's the center of the fight. She wants to draw everyone towards her. She's got a couple really powerful spells. She's got one spell that can kill a guy outright. So what she wants to do is be continually locking down the opponent so that they can't move around. And then she is going to use her powerful spells to finish the fight. So this is a kind of Draw In is a key spell for that. We don't have to have it, but I've already got here in the deck. I'm going to leave it in here. And then I'm going to filter here. I'm going to turn off some of these other things so I can filter we can see just spells. Oop, that's counters. Where's our spells? Okay, so these are the spells that are available to the Giant. So we got the Draw In there. Crush, like I said, this is one of her signature cards. It's a wind-up, then it deals half of a character's health to them when it goes off. I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Rousing Strength. She can just give herself +1 attack each time she plays this spell. That's really powerful over the course of the battle. Once she gets to 4 or 5 attack, that gets added to every time she does damage. That's a really powerful spell, so we're going to do that. Let's see. Some more attacks would be good. We want to make sure she can deal damage. Terrifying Strike is really good because it deals damage and then it prevents the guy who gets hit by it from attacking her back. And then, let's see, we're going to finish things off with a nice cheap spell. Let's do some Grudge Match. That'll just deal damage and then she gains Counter Strike. So we filled out her spells. We're going to look at her lair. She's got a couple here. I don't think they're really going to fit the strategy that we want for this. So I'm going to go ahead and check these out. And we're going to filter our minions here. And she's got these ones that only she can use. She's got some others that everyone can use, but we're going to start with hers. So Hammer Klansman. These really tough guy. You can see it's got 9 health. It's got 5 attacks. It's kind of a beater. It's also got armor 3, so it's really durable. And it has Provoke, which is going to lock anyone that's standing next to this guy down. So these guys are a really good way of slowing down the attackers, slowing down their fight, keeping them from moving out of the range of the Giant Queen's attacks. So I'm going to put 2 of those in here. Lair cards you can have more than 1 copy of. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 in. Let's see. And she has a couple non-attack spells. She's got the Draw In and the Rousing Strength. Both of those are fairly cheap, so they're going to be playing a lot. It might be worth tossing in a Thrall of Lore here because every time she plays one of those, this guy gets a little tougher. And then let's see. Let's add a structure. So I'm going to filter to structures. And we see we got Banner of the Mighty, which makes guys more powerful, but she's the only one who's ever going to have 6 or more attack, and that's only if she plays a lot of Rousing Strength. But this guy, the Banner of Clans, every 3 ticks, it summons a Sworn Sword minion. What is a Sworn Sword minion? Well, let's take a look at that. He should be in here. So Sworn Sword, when he dies, he gives the boss +1 attack. Well, that sounds pretty cool. So we're going to go ahead and put a Banner of the Clans in there. And that's going to be cranking out a little army of guys that every time they get killed, they make her more powerful. All right, and let's see. Let's add some perks here. Let's see. Ooh, when I'm below half health, Crush and Rousing Strength cost 1 less. Well, I have both of those in the deck. That sounds good. Let's see. Provoked enemies deal -1 damage. Well, I've got 2 guys that generate Provoke. That sounds pretty good. Sworn Oath. I'm going to be generating a lot of Sworn Swords. That's a pretty good one. Obliterate. This is a really awesome one. So this boosts just the Crush, and instead of dealing half health, it actually kills the guy straight up. But it also costs 3 more. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And let's see. Well, Strength of Steel, she's going to be gaining a lot of health. And this gives her a health bonus equal to 3 times her attack. Well, she gets a lot of health, or a lot of attack, she'll have a lot of health. And let's see, I've also got Draw In. We'll have Lockdown. Lockdown turns the Draw In into a spell that also adds ticks to the enemy. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in too. So now I've got a nice, pretty tough Giant Queen deck. I'm finished with that. And now we're going to assign that to my defense. So you go into the defense screen here, and you can see now you only have one deck active at a time. Eventually, when we get to the full launch of the game, all of your boss decks are going to be available on the screen. You'll be able to set what mode they're in, check on their status, watch replays for them. But for now, I'm just going to assign the Giant Queen to my defense and back out. So now that's live. If anyone wants to attack me, they're going to be facing that Giant Queen deck. But one thing that's really cool is you can go into play mode, and when you start a raid, you can turn on practice mode. What this will do is let you play against your own deck. So you'll be able to test out everything that you've done. So you can see here, I matched against my own Labyrinth. We've got the Giant Queen deck I just built here, and I'm going to jump into the fight. Okay, so here at the start of the battle, you can see a new screen that we've added. This is the preview for the boss that you're going to be fighting. It highlights the Giant Queen. Over here on the right, you've got a list of all the perk cards that the boss is currently running. We want to do this so you get a chance to digest exactly what your opponent's strategy is. take in what kinds of cards they're running. Now keep in mind that this screen is very much a work in progress. This is just something we got in very quickly just so you could see what was going on in the battle. But when you click, we go ahead and go to the normal game cam, and you can see here we have the battle. And we got up here at the top, we got the 2 Hammer Klansmen. These are the big tough guys that are going to be our tanks for the fight. We've got the Thrall of Lore down here. It's going to get tougher as I keep playing spells. And then down here you got the Banner of the Clans that's going to be summoning minions every turn. So from here the battle plays out as you experienced with the first release. So you got your 3 heroes. They're going to be moving through turn by turn, trying to take out the boss. But for the very first time, you're going to be challenging other players and challenging their decks. So we're really looking forward to seeing what kinds of strategies everybody comes up with. We're looking forward to seeing your replays, and we really hope you guys have a lot of fun with this update. So thanks for your time, and catch you later.